My name is Bridget Sanchez, Executive Director and founder of Latinx Therapist Project. I was a bushy-eyed, enthusiastic, naive, yet incredibly hopeful, young 23-year-old Latina, ready to change the world. I was in my first semester of my graduate program, studying to become a mental health therapist. I read every page of the 800 plus pages we were assigned every week to read. Asked about 10 questions each class. My classmates even started joking that I should have a question limit each class. And no, the questions never stopped. The intrigue, the desire, and curiosity was part of who I was. I was on a mission to become the best mental health therapist I could be, for myself, my community, and for my loved ones who never received therapy for themselves. For those of us who were still stuck in the cycle of trauma, and especially for the loved ones that had lost their lives due to untreated mental health conditions. Fast forward, the year is 2020. I am now a fully licensed mental health therapist serving the Latino rural, migrant, and farm working community in North Carolina. Despite once having sworn I would never leave what I considered the best city known to mankind at that time, Chicago. I made this move after Dr. Francisco Limon convinced me of the immense need I would be meeting for Spanish-speaking therapists in this North Carolina community. This town was home to 1,467 people. Our office was located on a one-block downtown area that had as many restaurants as I can count on one hand. I truly enjoyed serving this community, as my services were not needed, but desperately needed. I had families, individuals, driving up to 2 hours to come see the mythical Spanish-speaking Latina therapist who was helping people and families heal. I was one of 3 Spanish-speaking therapists within an 80-mile radius. I was seeing up to 37 clients in 1 week, a not sustainable caseload at anyone's standard due to the incredible demand for mental health services by a Spanish-speaking Latina therapist. What I started noticing was the immense trauma, hurt, suffering this community had, that was now also my community, was going through. Majority of the clients that were coming to see me were not dealing with mild situations, but severe and debilitating conditions. To this day, the things I heard in this community forever changed my view of humanity and people, but also made me believe in the power of change and resiliency. One day, I had a therapy client show up in my office that would forever change the trajectory of my life. I can still remember where I was sitting, what the room looked like, what the client was wearing, and the details of the trauma they shared, and what the details of the client's face were, the anguish, the quivering, the tears, the sorrow, the pain. To this day, I don't think I have ever heard screams that match that client's suffering. I was determined to walk the healing path with my client in hopes of releasing them of the suffering they had carried for over 30 years due to not being able to find a Spanish-speaking therapist. Yes, 30 years of walking with a debilitating condition called post-traumatic stress disorder. At that time, I was also 30, as life would have it, and I could not fathom someone enduring this type of suffering as long as I had been alive. I was determined to help them find healing. Thankfully, after 4 months of working together, this client no longer had PTSD, and they had been able to reclaim their life back. They expressed the new sense of peace and freedom they were getting to experience for the first time in their lives, and the significant impact therapy not only had on themselves, but also their family. This individual went on to become a community leader and also brought their family for therapy, and also became a community champion for mental health services, actively encouraging others to also receive mental health services. I can remember sitting in my car with tears rolling down my cheek, thinking how the simple action of a community having access to one Spanish-speaking Latina therapist could change the trajectory of one life, one family, and one community. What could the world look like with more access to therapists that spoke and looked like their communities? That was the day Latinx Therapist Project was born. Yay!